My beloved child, must I beg you to listen? Pause for a moment and let that question settle gently upon your heart. I am not raising my voice. I am not standing far away, demanding your attention. I am near you, closer than you realize, speaking softly into the quiet corners of your soul. Yet so often my words seem to pass by you like a breeze you barely notice. And I ask you, not with anger but with longing, must I beg you to listen? I see how busy your thoughts have become. I see the noise that surrounds your life. The world pulls at you from every direction, each voice louder than the last, each demand more urgent than the one before. You wake up already carrying burdens. You fall asleep with worries still whispering in your mind. In the middle of it all, I am speaking. I am calling your name with tenderness. But my voice is gentle, and gentleness can be missed when your heart is racing. My child, I do not ask this question to shame you. I ask it because I love you. The loving father does not force his child to listen. He does not shout to overpower the world. He waits with patience, hoping his child will turn, even slightly, and say, "Father, I am here." I have been waiting for that small turning of your heart. There have been moments when you felt a quiet nudge inside, a sudden peace that did not make sense, a thought that told you to slow down, to forgive, to trust, to step back, or to step forward. That was me. There have been times when you almost heard me clearly, but doubt crept in and drowned out my whisper. You wondered if it was just your imagination. You brushed it aside and continued on, thinking I would speak louder if it were truly me. But my child, I do not compete with chaos. I do not wrestle for attention. I speak in love, and love does not shout over noise. Love waits. Love invites. Why would I ask, must I beg you to listen? Because what I have to say to you matters more than you know. There are warnings meant to protect you. There are directions meant to guide you away from hidden pain. There are promises meant to strengthen you in the dark hours you have not yet faced. I see what lies ahead, and my words are a lamp prepared for your path. You have been asking for answers. You have been praying for clarity. You have been longing for a sign that I am with you. And here I am, speaking now, closer than your breath, reaching not for your performance but for your attention. My beloved child, I am not begging from weakness. I am inviting from love. The question is not whether I am speaking. The question is whether you will slow your heart long enough to hear me. My beloved child, I do not speak to you in thunder every day. I do not shake the ground beneath your feet each time I wish to guide you. More often than you realize, I come to you as a whisper. Zov. Daddy. Persisted. And because my voice is gentle, you sometimes overlook it. The world has trained your ears to respond to urgency. Loud headlines, sharp opinions, constant notifications, demands that flash and buzz and insist. You have learned to react to what startles you. But I am not in the business of startling you into love. I draw you with kindness. I lead you with peace. And so my voice flows quietly beneath the surface of your thoughts, like a calm stream under a noisy bridge. Imagine a small child playing in a crowded park. Laughter fills the air. Other children shout. Music drifts from a nearby speaker. The child is so absorbed in the game that he does not notice his father standing just a short distance away, calling his name, not angrily, not harshly, but steadily. Come here, my child. I want to show you something. The father does not scream. He does not run into the chaos waving his arms. He simply waits for the moment when the child pauses long enough to recognize the familiar voice that has always protected him. My beloved, You are that child more often than you know. You are busy surviving, busy striving, busy trying to solve tomorrow before it arrives. And while you are running from one concern to another, I am calling you gently. Come here. I want to show you something. I want to show you a better path. I want to show you the peace that does not depend on circumstances. I want to show you who you truly are through my eyes. You sometimes expect my guidance to feel dramatic. You look for signs written across the sky. But many times, my direction comes as a quiet thought that interrupts your worry. A sudden sense that you should not send that message. A soft urging to forgive when pride wants to hold on. A subtle discomfort when you are about to walk into something that will drain you. That is me, my child. That is my whisper. I have never stopped speaking to you. Not in your darkest night. Not in your busiest season. Not in the moments when you felt distant from me. Even when you thought I was silent, I was shaping circumstances around you. I was placing people in your path. I was closing doors you did not need to walk through and opening others you were too afraid to approach. But my whisper requires something from you. It requires stillness. It requires trust. It requires that you believe I am good, even when my guidance leads you away from what looks appealing in the moment. Sometimes you ignore my voice because it does not match your expectations. You ask for quick solutions, and I offer patient growth. You ask for immediate relief, and I offer deep healing. You ask for clear blueprints, and I offer the next small step. My whisper often speaks in simple instructions. Rest, wait, call that friend, apologize, step back, try again. And because it seems too simple, you question whether it could truly be me. My beloved child, I am not complicated. My love for you is not hidden behind riddles. When I speak, it aligns with peace. Even if it challenges you, it will carry a quiet steadiness with it. It will not accuse you. It will not rush you into fear. My voice leads, it does not push. So today, I invite you to listen differently. Not with strained effort, but with a softened heart. Turn down the volume of your hurry. Step away from the noise, even if only for a few minutes. Sit with me. Breathe. Notice the calm thought that rises when your anxiety settles. Notice the gentle clarity that comes when you stop arguing with yourself. I am there, my child. I am closer than the noise. I am speaking beneath the chaos. And when you begin to recognize my whisper, you will realize that I have been guiding you all along. My beloved child, let me calm the fear that may be rising inside you. When you hear the question, must I beg you to listen? You may imagine frustration in my voice. You may picture disappointment on my face. But I tell you now with absolute tenderness, I am not angry with you. I am calling you. I do not stand over you with crossed arms, measuring your failures. I do not keep a record of how many times you missed my whisper. I am not counting your distractions as offenses. I am watching you with compassion, understanding how heavy your life has felt, how confusing your thoughts have become, how tired your heart truly is. When a loving father sees his child wandering too close to danger, he does not shout because he hates the child. He calls out because he sees what the child cannot yet see. His voice carries urgency, not anger. His heart beats with concern, not condemnation. That is how I speak to you. When I ask you to listen, it is because I see the road ahead more clearly than you do. It is because I want to spare you unnecessary pain. It is because I want to lead you into something better. You have sometimes mistaken my correction for rejection. When doors closed, you wondered if I was punishing you. When plans fell apart, You feared I was disappointed. But my child, I do not withdraw my love when you stumble. I move closer. I steady you. I remind you that your worth was never built on perfect decisions. I know the voices that accuse you. I know how quickly your own thoughts can turn against you. There are moments when you replay your mistakes in your mind and assume I must be tired of forgiving you. But hear me clearly. I do not grow weary of loving you. I do not lose patience with your process. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. Trust takes time. And I am not rushed. If I were angry, I would not keep calling you. If I were disappointed beyond repair, I would not keep reaching for your attention. The very fact that I speak again and again is proof of my devotion to you. I pursue you not because you have earned it, but because you are mine. There is a difference between conviction and condemnation, and I want you to understand it. Condemnation pushes you down and tells you that you will never change. Conviction gently lifts your chin and says, "There is more for you than this." Condemnation isolates you in shame. Conviction draws you back into my embrace. When I point something out in your life, it is never to humiliate you. It is to free you. My beloved child, you are not a burden to me. Your questions do not exhaust me. Your doubts do not offend me. Even your hesitation does not surprise me. I formed your heart. I understand its fears. I know why you sometimes resist what is good for you. And instead of turning away, I stay. I am calling you because I see your potential. I see the strength buried beneath your insecurity. I see the courage hidden under your hesitation. I see the future that waits for you if you trust my guidance. My call is not a threat. It is an invitation to step into the life prepared for you. So release the image of an angry God standing at a distance. That is not who I am to you. I am the Father who walks beside you, who corrects with gentleness, who restores with mercy, who speaks because silence would mean leaving you without direction, and I will never leave you like that. When you hear me ask, must I beg you to listen? Hear the love beneath it. Hear the concern. Hear the longing. It is not anger in my voice. It is affection. It is hope. It is the Father calling his beloved child closer, not pushing them away. My beloved child, there is something I want you to understand about why my voice sometimes feels distant to you. It is not that I have stepped away. It is that there is so much noise around your heart. Noise does not only come from the outside. Yes, the world is loud. Opinions collide. Expectations press in. Responsibilities stack upon your shoulders. But the loudest noise often rises from within you. It is the voice of anxiety that predicts worst-case outcomes. It is the echo of regret reminding you of yesterday's mistakes. It is the pressure to prove yourself, to be enough, to keep up, to never fall behind. These sounds swirl together until your inner world feels crowded. Imagine trying to tune into a clear radio station while driving through a storm. Static crackles. Signals fade in and out. You know the music is playing somewhere, but interference makes it difficult to hear. My voice is like that steady signal, consistent, unchanging, but the static of fear and doubt can make it seem faint. The problem is not the broadcast. The problem is the interference. You were not created to carry constant tension. You were not designed to live with your mind racing from one fear to another. When your thoughts never rest, your heart cannot settle. And when your heart cannot settle, it struggles to recognize my peace. Some of the noise comes from wounds you have not fully healed. Words spoken over you years ago still echo in your memory. Failures that embarrassed you still replay at quiet moments. Rejection, that cut deeply still whispers that you are not enough. These old sounds mix with present worries, and together they create a storm inside you. My beloved child, I see that storm. I do not criticize you for it. I understand how it formed, but I do not want you to live inside it. When I speak, my voice carries calm and carries clarity. It does not rush or panic. But if your heart is spinning with anxious thoughts, my calm can feel unfamiliar. You may even resist it because you have grown used to urgency. You have learned to function in stress, to move quickly, to react instantly. Stillness can feel uncomfortable at first. Silence can feel unnatural. Yet it is in that stillness that you begin to hear me clearly. Think of a lake disturbed by wind. When the surface is restless, it cannot reflect the sky. But when the wind quiets and the water becomes still, it mirrors the heavens perfectly. Your heart is like that lake. When agitation rules, reflection is distorted. But when you allow me to calm your thoughts, when you breathe deeply and release your grip on every outcome, your heart begins to reflect my truth. I do not demand that you silence every fear in a single moment. I know that is not how healing works. Instead, I invite you to bring the noise to me. Do not try to fix it alone. Speak your worries aloud in my presence. Name your fears without shame. Lay your regrets at my feet. When you give me the static, I begin to clear the signal. There are practical choices you can make, my child. You can step away from conversations that drain you. You can limit the voices that feed comparison and insecurity. You can create small pockets of quiet in your day, even if only for a few minutes. These are not small acts. They are sacred decisions to guard your heart. I am not competing with the noise. I am patiently waiting for you to turn down its volume. And as you do, even slightly, you will begin to notice something beautiful. Beneath the chaos, beneath the racing thoughts, beneath the old echoes of pain, my voice has been steady all along. It speaks peace over your confusion. It speaks identity over your insecurity. It speaks hope over your fear. My beloved child, let me quiet the storm within you. Let me soften the noise around your heart. For when your heart grows still, you will discover that I have never stopped speaking. My beloved child, there is another reason you sometimes struggle to listen to me, and it is not distraction alone. It is fear. Fear has a quiet way of pulling you back just when you are about to lean in. It whispers, what if this costs you something? What if you change and lose what feels familiar? What if you trust and are disappointed again? And instead of moving closer to my voice, you hesitate. You step back. You guard your heart. I see this in you, and I do not judge it. Fear often grows from places where you were hurt. Perhaps you trusted someone before and they failed you. Perhaps you stepped out boldly once and things did not turn out the way you hoped. Perhaps you prayed with expectation and the answer looked different than you imagined. Each of those moments left an imprint on your heart. Imagine a child who once reached eagerly for a gift, only to find something inside that confused him. The next time a gift is offered, he hesitates. He wonders if it will bring joy or disappointment. So he folds his arms and says he does not want it, even though curiosity still flickers inside him. That child is not ungrateful. He is cautious. My beloved, sometimes you treat my guidance like that unopened gift. When I nudge you toward change, you fear what it might require. When I ask you to forgive, you fear being hurt again. When I encourage you to step forward, you fear failure. When I call you to rest, you fear losing control. But hear me clearly. I do not lead you into harm. I do not guide you toward destruction. Even when my path stretches you, it is always for your growth, never for your undoing. Fear paints me as unpredictable, but I am steady. Fear paints me as distant, but I am near. Fear tells you that surrender means loss, but in my hands, surrender becomes safety. You have grown used to protecting yourself. You analyze. You overthink. You prepare for worst-case scenarios. In many ways, this has helped you survive difficult seasons. But survival is not the same as trust. And trust is what allows you to hear me fully. When fear tightens around your heart, my voice can feel risky. You may sense me calling you to release something you have been holding tightly. A grudge, a relationship, a habit, a plan that you have built your identity around. And fear says, if you let go, you will fall. So you cling tighter, even when what you are holding is exhausting you. My beloved child, I am not asking you to step into darkness blindly. I am asking you to step toward me. There is a difference. I see the ground beneath your feet. I know where the path is solid and where it is fragile. When I ask you to move, it is because I know it is safe in ways you cannot yet see. Fear also convinces you that if you listen to me fully, your life will become harder. It imagines sacrifice without reward, obedience without joy. But what fear does not show you is the peace that comes from alignment with my will. It does not show you the freedom of no longer fighting against the current. It does not show you the quiet confidence that grows when you know you are walking with me. I do not rush you through your fear. I walk with you through it. I understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to trust me despite it. Every small step you take toward my voice weakens fear's grip. So when you feel that hesitation rise, pause. Do not run from it. Bring it to me. Say, Father, I am afraid. I will not be disappointed in that honesty. I will meet you there. And gently, patiently, I will show you that my love is greater than the fear that makes you turn away. My beloved child, you do not have to beg me for reassurance. I am already offering it. Open your heart, even if it trembles. For on the other side of your fear is deeper trust, and in that trust, you will hear me more clearly than ever before. My beloved child, I cherish every prayer you speak to me. I treasure the whispered cries in the night, the desperate words you release when no one else is listening, the quiet thank yous you barely notice yourself saying. Every prayer rises to me. Not one is ignored. Not one is wasted. But I want to ask you something gently. You pray, but do you pause? So often you come to me with a full heart and a rushing mind. You speak your needs quickly. You list your worries. You out of her help for direction for relief. And then, almost immediately, you move on. You return to your plans. You pick up your phone. You step back into the noise. The conversation ends before it truly begins. Imagine a child running into his father's arms, pouring out a story in one breath, and then running away before hearing the response. The father smiles because he loves the sound of his child's voice, but his heart also longs to answer, to guide, to comfort. Yet there is no space left for his words to land. My beloved, prayer is not meant to be a monologue. It is not meant to be a hurried transaction where you drop off requests and rush away. Prayer is communion. It is connection. It is relationship. And relationship requires listening as much as speaking. You have been faithful in bringing your concerns to me. But sometimes you treat me as a last resort instead of a present companion. You speak to me in emergencies but forget to sit with me in stillness. You ask for wisdom but rarely linger long enough to receive it. I do not say this to correct you harshly. I say it because I want more for you. I want you to experience the comfort of my response. I want you to feel the reassurance that comes when my peace settles over your thoughts. I want you to recognize the clarity that gently forms when you stop striving for answers and simply remain with me. There is a sacred power in pausing. When you pause, your breathing slows. Your racing thoughts begin to untangle. The urgency that once felt overwhelming starts to soften. In that quiet space, my voice becomes clearer. Not because I suddenly decide to speak, but because you have finally made room to hear. You do not need elaborate words. You do not need perfect language. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is a symbol, I am here. And after you say those words, stay. Resist the urge to fill the silence. Let the quiet stretch for a moment. Let your heart settle. At first, the silence may feel uncomfortable. You may become aware of how restless your mind has been. Thoughts will try to pull you away. Reminders of unfinished tasks will rise. But gently return your focus. Breathe in. Breathe out. I'm closer than you think. In that pause, you may sense a calm thought guiding you. You may feel a subtle assurance that everything will be all right. You may remember a truth that steadies you. These are not coincidences. These are my responses, woven softly into your awareness. Listening requires trust. It means believing that I am not silent. It means expecting that I care enough to answer. Even when my answer is wait, even when it is not yet, even when it is trust me, my response always carries love. My beloved child, do not rush away from me. Do not treat prayer as a checklist item to complete. Sit with me. Let your soul rest in my presence. Let your heart grow familiar with my peace. When you pray and pause, something beautiful begins to unfold. Your fear loosens. Your perspective shifts. You begin to sense direction without force. You realize that you are not alone in your decisions, not abandoned in your confusion. I am always ready to speak. The question is not whether I am responding. The question is whether you will linger long enough to hear the tenderness in my reply. Stay with me, my child. In the quiet, you will discover that I have been answering you all along. My beloved child, there are places in your heart that still ache, even if you rarely speak of them. There are memories you have tucked away, conversations you wish had gone differently, betrayals you did not deserve. These wounds have shaped how you listen, not only to people, but sometimes to me. When someone you trusted failed you, something inside you learned to be cautious. When words were spoken over you that cut deeply, part of your spirit began to question every voice of authority. When love was withdrawn or affection was inconsistent, your heart quietly built walls for protection. You did not wake up one day deciding to close your ears. You were trying to survive. I understand this about you. I saw every tear you hid. I was present in every moment when disappointment settled into your chest. I watched as you told yourself to be strong, even when you felt small inside. And I never once looked at you with frustration for guarding your heart. I knew why you did it. But my beloved, what protects you in one season can limit you in another. The walls that once shielded you from pain can also muffle my voice. When you learn not to expect too much from others, you slowly learn not to expect too much from me. When you were let down repeatedly, you began to brace yourself for disappointment, even in your relationship with me. Sometimes, without realizing it, you project human failures onto my character. If someone misled you, you fear I might do the same. If someone broke a promise, you wonder if my promises are also fragile. If someone withdrew when you needed them most, you quietly fear that I will grow distant too. My child, I am not like those who hurt you. I do not speak carelessly. I do not manipulate your trust. I do not promise what I cannot fulfill. Human voices may have confused you, but my voice is steady. It carries truth without cruelty. It corrects without shaming. It guides without controlling. Imagine a child who once touched a hot surface and burned his hand. The next time he sees something warm, he pulls back immediately. Even if the warmth is gentle and safe, fear tells him it will hurt again. In the same way, your past pain can cause you to pull back from my nearness. When I draw close, when I whisper direction, when I invite deeper trust, something inside you hesitates. What if this hurts too? You wonder. My beloved child, I am the healer of the very wounds that make you cautious. I do not demand that you tear down your walls overnight. I simply ask you to let me stand beside them. Let me show you, slowly and consistently, that my presence is safe. Healing is not loud. It does not always arrive in dramatic moments. Often it happens quietly, like light entering a dark room one small crack at a time. Each time you choose to trust me a little more, even when fear whispers otherwise, another crack opens. Another beam of light enters. And gradually, the darkness loses its hold. You may not even realize how much your wounds have influenced your listening. But I do. And I am patient with your process. I will repeat my reassurance as many times as you need. I will prove my faithfulness through steady love, not pressure. My beloved, you are not broken beyond repair. You are not too guarded for my grace. The parts of you that struggle to hear me are the very parts I long to restore. Let me tend to your heart gently. Let me redefine what trust feels like. As I heal you, you will notice something beautiful. My voice will no longer feel distant or intimidating. It will feel familiar, safe, like a place you can rest without bracing for impact. I am not here to reopen your wounds. I am here to close them. And as your heart heals, your ears will open again, not out of obligation, but out of renewed trust. My beloved child, you have often looked for me in grand moments. You have searched for dramatic signs, unmistakable miracles, undeniable proof that I am moving in your life. And while I am capable of wonders beyond your imagination, I want you to understand something tender and true. I often speak through small things. You expect fireworks, but sometimes I come as a candle flame. You expect a mountain to move, but sometimes I guide you with a single step. Think about the quiet beauty of a sunrise. It does not shout its arrival. It does not demand applause. It slowly pushes back the darkness, color by gentle color, until the sky is transformed. In the same way, my voice often enters your life gradually, through moments so simple that you might overlook them. I speak through a sudden sense of calm when everything around you feels uncertain. I speak through a kind word from a stranger that touches exactly the place you have been hurting. I speak through a song that seems to echo your unspoken prayer. I speak through the pause that keeps you from making a decision you would later regret. These are not accidents. These are invitations. There was a time when you narrowly avoided something that would have brought you pain. A delay frustrated you. A plan fell apart. An opportunity slipped away. You saw inconvenience, but I saw protection. You felt disappointment, but I was quietly redirecting your path. I was speaking through circumstances, not to punish you, but to shield you. My beloved, you sometimes miss my voice because it feels too ordinary. You imagine that if I truly wanted your attention, I would make it undeniable. But love does not always announce itself with spectacle. Sometimes love is subtle. weaving itself into daily life so naturally that it feels like your own thought. When a gentle idea rises within you, an urge to check on someone, to change direction, to rest instead of push harder, do not dismiss it too quickly. Ask yourself if it carries peace. Ask yourself if it aligns with kindness, wisdom, and truth. My guidance rarely screams. It resonates quietly. Consider a gardener tending to seeds planted beneath the soil. For weeks, nothing seems to happen. The ground looks unchanged. But beneath the surface, growth is taking place. Roots are forming. Strength is building. Then one day, a small green shoot breaks through the earth. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. But it is life. I work in your life like that gardener. Many of the ways I speak to you happen beneath the surface. A shift in perspective. A new understanding. A slow release of something that once controlled you. These small movements are evidence of my hand at work. Do not underestimate the power of small obedience. When you choose to forgive quietly, even if no one sees it, you are responding to my voice. When you decide to trust me for one more day instead of giving into despair, you are listening. When you take a step toward healing, however small, you are walking with me. My beloved child, the sacred often hides within the simple. The holy often arrives wrapped in the ordinary. I am not absent from your daily routine. I am woven into it. In the breath you take, in the strength you find to rise each morning, in the unexpected encouragement that lifts your spirit. If you slow down and look carefully, you will begin to see how often I am reaching for you. Not with overwhelming force, but with steady love. Not with noise, but with nearness. Open your eyes to the small things. Treasure the quiet nudges. Honor the gentle peace that settles without explanation. For in these subtle moments, I am speaking clearly. And when you learn to recognize me in the small, you will discover that I have been present in your life far more than you ever realized. My beloved child, there have been seasons when you searched for my voice and felt only silence. You prayed. You waited. You listened carefully. And yet, it seemed as though the heavens were quiet. In those moments, you wondered if I had stepped back. You questioned whether you had done something wrong. You feared that distance meant disapproval. I want to speak gently into that fear. My silence is not absence. My quiet is not abandonment. There are times in your life when I speak clearly and often, guiding you step by step. And there are times when I allow space, not to test you harshly, not to confuse you, but to strengthen you in ways that constant instruction never could. Imagine a teacher during an exam. Throughout the lessons, the teacher explains, demonstrates, answers questions, and guides carefully. But when the day of testing arrives, the teacher grows quiet. Not because the teacher no longer cares, but because it is time for the student to apply what has already been learned. The silence in that room is not neglect. It is trust. In some seasons, my quietness is an invitation for you to trust what I have already placed within you. The wisdom you gained through past struggles, the strength you built in earlier storms, the faith that carried you through difficult nights. I am not withholding guidance. I am watching you grow. You often measure closeness by how much you feel. When you sense my presence strongly, you believe I am near. When your emotions are calm or uncertain, you assume I have stepped away. But my presence is not dependent on your feelings. I am constant. Even when your heart feels dry, I am there. There is also another truth you must understand. Sometimes what you call silence is simply a softer form of speaking. When I am not giving you new instructions, it may be because you already know the next right step. You may be waiting for a dramatic sign, while I am quietly encouraging you to move forward with the light you already have. Think of walking at night with a small lantern. The lantern does not illuminate the entire road at once. It shows you just enough for the next few steps. If you refuse to move until the entire path is visible, you will remain stuck. But when you take a step, the light moves with you. In the same way, when you act on the guidance I have already given, clarity often increases. My beloved, distance is sometimes an illusion created by unmet expectations. You expected immediate answers. You hoped for instant clarity. You wanted reassurance on your timeline. When it did not come the way you imagined, you assumed I was silent. But even in those moments, I was working behind the scenes. I was arranging circumstances. I was softening hearts. I was protecting you from outcomes you could not foresee. I was aligning events in ways too complex for you to grasp in the present. You are never outside of my awareness. Not in confusion. Not in doubt. Not in weariness. When you feel like you are walking alone, I am walking beside you. When you feel like you are making decisions without clear direction, I am steadying your steps in unseen ways. If my voice feels distant today, do not panic. Do not accuse yourself. Instead, return to what you already know to be true. Choose kindness. Choose integrity. Choose patience. Choose trust. These are places where my voice always resides. My beloved child, even in silence, I am present. Even in waiting, I am active. Even in the quiet, I am near. What feels like distance is often growth unfolding. And when the time is right, you will look back and realize that I was guiding you all along, even when you could not hear me clearly. My beloved child, this is your moment. Not yesterday. Not someday in the distant future. Now, this breath you are taking, this quiet stirring in your heart, this awareness rising within you, this is not an accident. I have been drawing you closer step by step, softening your fears, calming your noise, healing your wounds. And now I am asking you gently but clearly, will you listen? You have waited for the perfect time. You have told yourself that when life slows down, when problems settle, when you feel stronger or more certain, then you will fully open your heart to me. But transformation does not begin when everything is ideal. It begins in surrender. It begins in the simple decision to say, Father, I am ready. There are crossroads in every life, moments that seem small on the surface but carry deep spiritual weight. This is one of those moments for you. You can continue as you have, half listening, half doubting, moving forward with hesitation. Or you can lean in fully. You can quiet your heart and allow my voice to shape your next step. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for attention. I am not demanding grand gestures. I am inviting daily trust. When you choose to listen now, something shifts within you. The confusion begins to clear. The fear begins to loosen. The sense of wandering begins to fade. This is not about religion. It is about relationship. It is about closeness. It is about the Creator of your soul speaking directly to you and saying, you matter to me. Your path matters. Your obedience matters. Do not underestimate the power of this decision. A single moment of surrendered listening can redirect the course of your future. It can restore what felt broken. It can protect you from what you cannot yet see. It can unlock peace that surpasses your understanding. My beloved, you are not hearing these words by coincidence. I knew this moment would come. I knew your heart would be ready to receive more. That quiet tug inside you, that desire to lean closer, that is my spirit drawing you in. So pause with me right now. Let the distractions wait. Let the doubts settle. Whisper in your heart, speak, Father. I am listening. That simple openness is enough. I will meet you there. And as you choose to listen, understand something deeper. This message is not meant to stay only with you. There are other hearts wandering in noise. There are other souls aching for reassurance. When you respond to my voice, you become part of how I reach them. Now hear me clearly, my beloved child. When you feel moved to help this message travel farther, when you choose to support through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description, and even shown through the QR code in this video, you are not giving to a platform, you are sowing into souls. As it is written, give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and I speak that promise over you personally. When you plant a seed into this mission, you water fields you may never see, but I see every harvest. I say to your heart now, let your generosity become my extended hand. Do not hesitate when I nudge you to act, for obedience in this moment carries eternal weight. What you release becomes light in someone else's darkness. What you sow becomes oil in another's lamp. I bless every giver with peace, provision, and multiplied grace. Step into this sacred partnership with me and move as I lead you today. My beloved child, now that you have chosen to lean closer, let me speak to the weight you have been carrying. You have learned to function while tired. You have mastered the art of smiling while overwhelmed. You answer questions with "I'm fine" even when your heart feels stretched thin. But I see beyond the surface. I see the invisible load resting on your shoulders. You carry responsibilities that others may never fully understand. You think about the future more than you admit. You replay conversations in your mind, wondering if you said the wrong thing. You worry about the people you love. You question whether you are doing enough, being enough, holding everything together the way you should. My beloved, I see it all. I see the quiet pressure you place on yourself to succeed. I see the silent comparison that steals your joy when you look at others and assume they are ahead. I see the guilt that whispers you could have done more. And I see the exhaustion that follows you into the night when the world finally grows quiet. You were never meant to carry life alone. Imagine a child trying to lift a heavy suitcase far too large for his small frame. He struggles, pulling with all his strength, refusing to ask for help because he wants to prove he is capable. The father stands nearby, watching with love, ready to step in. Not because the child is weak, but because the weight was never meant for him in the first place. My beloved child, some of the burdens you are dragging behind you were never assigned to you. Expectations that do not come from me. Responsibilities that belong in other hands. Regrets that should have been released long ago. You have taken ownership of things that I never asked you to carry. When I say, listen, it is not only so you can receive direction. It is so you can receive relief. There is a difference between diligence and striving, between faithfulness and fear-driven performance. I delight in your effort, but I do not demand that you prove your worth through exhaustion. Your value was established before your accomplishments. Your identity was sealed before your achievements. My beloved, I see the emotional weight too. The conversations you wish had gone differently. The relationships that feel fragile. The tension that lingers even when you try to ignore it. You have been holding these things tightly, as though if you loosen your grip, everything will fall apart. But listen carefully. I am holding you. You are not the glue that keeps the universe together. You are not the ultimate protector of every outcome. You are my child, and I am your father. When you release what you cannot control, you are not being irresponsible. You are trusting me. There are nights when you lie awake thinking about tomorrow's problems. I am there. There are moments during the day when your chest tightens with quiet stress. I am there. There are times when you feel strong for everyone else but secretly wish someone would be strong for you. I am there. Come to me with what you carry. Not in polished words, but in honesty. Tell me what feels heavy, and name what exhausts you. Let your guard lower in my presence. I am not disappointed by your limits. I created you with them. As you listen to my voice, you will begin to notice something shifting. The burdens do not disappear instantly, but they become lighter. Not because life suddenly changes, but because you are no longer holding it alone. My beloved child, I see what you carry, and I am inviting you to place it in my hands. Rest is not weakness. Dependence is not failure. It is the design of love. Let me carry what overwhelms you. Let me steady what feels unstable. Let me remind you that you are deeply loved, not for what you manage, but for who you are. You do not have to prove yourself to me. You only have to remain close. My beloved child, there are prayers you have spoken aloud, and then there are prayers you barely had the strength to whisper. I have heard them all. I remember the night when the room was dark and your thoughts would not quiet down. You turned on your pillow, staring into the silence, and finally breathed out a fragile sentence. God, I don't know what to do. You may have felt alone in that moment, but I was closer than the air in your lungs. I heard the prayer you prayed through tears, when words broke in the middle and all you could offer me was emotion. I heard the silent cry that never left your lips, the one that formed only as a tightness in your chest. You did not need perfect language. You did not need long explanations. Your heart spoke, and I understood. There was a night when you asked me for a sign. Not something dramatic, just something to let you know I had not forgotten you. You wondered if your voice was reaching beyond the ceiling. My beloved, your prayers do not struggle to find me. They do not get lost in distance. The moment they rise from your heart, they are already known. You asked for strength when you felt too weak to keep pretending everything was fine. You asked for peace when anxiety would not loosen its grip. You asked for clarity when your path looked uncertain and dim. Some of those prayers have already begun to unfold in ways you may not recognize yet. Sometimes you expect your answers to arrive in the same form as your request. But I answer with wisdom beyond what you can see. When you prayed for strength, I did not always remove the challenge. Instead, I strengthened you within it. When you prayed for peace, I did not always change your circumstances immediately. Instead, I steadied your heart in the middle of them. When you prayed for direction, I did not always reveal the entire map. Instead, I illuminated the next step. There were nights when you felt too tired to pray at all. You lay there in silence, assuming that your quiet meant distance. But even in those moments, I was attentive. I know the language of your sighs. I understand the meaning behind your silence. I collect every tear as something precious. My beloved child, I am not moved by performance. I am moved by sincerity. Your late-night whispers mean more to me than eloquent speeches spoken in public. When you speak to me in your rawest state, without filters, without rehearsed phrases, that is intimacy. That is trust. You wondered if I was disappointed that your faith felt small at times. But I do not measure faith by volume. I cherish even the smallest spark. A flicker of hope in the darkness is still light. A quiet help me is still believe. Even now, there may be a prayer sitting unspoken in your heart. Something you are afraid to ask because you do not know if it will be answered the way you hope. Bring it to me. I am not intimidated by your big requests. I am not annoyed by your repeated questions. I am not distant from your deepest longing. I have been listening all along. The answers may not always arrive on your schedule, but they are shaped by love. The waiting is not wasted. The silence is not empty. Behind the scenes of your life, I am weaving together what you cannot yet see. My beloved child, the prayers you whispered at night are not forgotten echoes. They are seeds planted in faith, and in due time, you will look back and see how I was moving, even when you thought nothing was happening. Continue to come to me. Continue to speak honestly. Continue to trust that your voice matters. Because every time you call on me, I am already listening. My beloved child, there have been moments when you felt invisible. Times when it seemed as though everyone else was being noticed, chosen, celebrated, while you stood quietly in the background. You smiled and told yourself it did not matter, but deep within, a question lingered. Have I been forgotten? I want you to hear me clearly now. You are not forgotten. Not in the crowd. Not in the waiting. Not in the delay. Not in the silence. There are seasons when your life feels paused, as if others are moving forward while you remain still. You scroll through images of success, announcements of milestones, stories of breakthrough, and you wonder when your turn will come. You question whether I see you standing there, hoping, trying, believing. My beloved, I see what no one else sees. I see the quiet faithfulness when you choose integrity even when it goes unnoticed. I see the effort you put into loving others without applause. I see the patience you practice when you want to rush ahead. I see the resilience it takes for you to wake up each day and try again. Nothing about your life is hidden from me. Imagine a craftsman working on a masterpiece behind closed doors. From the outside, nothing appears to be happening. The room looks quiet. The door remains shut. But inside, careful hands are shaping something beautiful. Detail by detail, stroke by stroke, the masterpiece takes form. When the door finally opens, everyone will see what was being prepared all along. My beloved child, there are parts of your story still being shaped in private. The waiting is not neglect. It is preparation. The quiet season is not abandonment. It is refinement. I am developing depth in you that cannot be rushed. You may feel overlooked, but you are never out of my sight. Your name is known to me. Your dreams are known to me. The desires you barely admit out loud, I know them. I placed many of them within you. There were times when you asked, why not me? You wondered why doors opened for others while yours remained closed. But what you could not see were the unseen factors I was aligning, the protection I was providing, the growth I was nurturing within you so that when your moment arrives, you will be ready to carry it with strength. Forgotten is a word born from human limitation. Humans forget. Humans overlook. Humans misjudge. But I do not. Even when you feel small in a vast world, you are significant to me. Even when your efforts seem unnoticed, they are recorded in my heart. Even when your progress feels slow, I am attentive to every step. You are not behind. You are not overlooked. You are not secondary in my plan. Sometimes I allow seasons of hiddenness because visibility without foundation can become a burden. I care more about your character than your spotlight. I care more about your peace than public recognition. I am not withholding good from you. I am building something lasting. My beloved, do not measure your worth by how visible you are. Do not decide your value based on comparison. Your journey is uniquely yours, and I am intimately involved in it. When doubt whispers that you have been forgotten, silence that lie with this truth: I am present. I am attentive. I am purposeful. You are not a forgotten page in a larger story. You are a beloved chapter written with care. Trust the process unfolding around you. Trust that timing held in my hands is never careless. And when your season shifts, when doors open, when your prayers bloom in ways you did not expect, you will see that I was never absent. My beloved child, you have always been seen. You have always been known. And you have never, not for a single moment, been forgotten. My beloved child, when you do not hear me the way you expect, it is easy for your heart to assume the worst. Silence can feel sharp. It can stir old insecurities. It can awaken fears you thought you had already conquered. And sometimes, in those quiet stretches, you begin to wonder if my silence means rejection. Let me gently correct that thought. My silence is not rejection. It is not punishment. It is not distance. It is not withdrawal of love. There are moments when a parent watches a child take their first steps without holding their hand. The parent does not step back because they no longer care. They step back because they believe in the child's ability to grow. They remain close, ready to catch them if they fall, but they allow space for strength to develop. In the same way, when I grow quiet in your life, it is often because you are stronger than you realize. You may interpret silence as absence, but I see it as maturity unfolding. I have already planted truth within you. I have already shown you my faithfulness in past seasons. I have already proven that I am steady. When you move forward based on what you have learned, you are not walking alone. You are walking in trust. My beloved, rejection is rooted in dismissal. But I have never dismissed you. I have never turned my face away from you. Even when you made choices that led to consequences, I did not reject you. I remained near, guiding you through restoration. Sometimes my silence is simply an invitation to deeper faith. If I answered every question instantly, you would rely on immediate reassurance rather than enduring trust. If I removed every uncertainty right away, you would not discover the strength that rises when you keep walking without full clarity. Think of gold being refined. It is placed in fire not to destroy it, but to purify it. The heat separates impurities, strengthening the metal. From the outside, the process looks intense, but the intention is transformation. My quiet seasons are not meant to burn you. They are meant to refine your trust. You may pray for a clear yes or no and receive neither. Instead, you are given time. Waiting can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like standing still while life moves around you. But waiting in my hands is never wasted. I have patience. It deepens discernment. It anchors you more firmly in me. My beloved child, rejection pushes away. I draw near. When you fear that I have turned from you, look at the evidence of my presence in your life. You are still breathing. You are still standing. You are still being guided, even in subtle ways. The strength you carry today is proof that I have not abandoned you. Do not let silence distort your understanding of my heart. I am not withholding love. I am cultivating depth. I am not ignoring your cries. Abandoning timing. I am not closing you out. I am shaping you for something greater than you can currently see. When my voice seems quiet, hold on to what you already know about me. I am faithful. I am kind. I am attentive. These truths do not change with circumstance. My beloved, my silence is not rejection. It is preparation. It is trust extended toward you. It is love steady enough to allow you to grow. Stay close during these seasons. Continue to speak to me. Continue to lean in, even when answers feel delayed. For beneath the quiet, I am still working. Beneath the stillness, I am still guiding. Beneath the silence, my love remains unwavering. You are not rejected. You are being refined, and I am with you every step of the way. My beloved child, there have been moments when doors closed so suddenly that it took your breath away. Opportunities you were certain would unfold disappeared without explanation. Plans you carefully arranged unraveled in ways you did not expect. And in those moments, you felt confusion, disappointment, even quiet frustration toward me. You asked, why would you allow this? You wondered, why would you stop something that seemed so good? What you could not see was my protection at work. I see beyond the present moment. I see what lies ahead on roads you are eager to travel. I see the hidden pitfalls behind invitations that appear attractive. I see the conversations that would have wounded you, the partnerships that would have drained you, the situations that would have entangled your peace. When I close a door, it is not to deny you joy. It is to guard your future. Imagine a child running toward a street, excited and unaware of the danger approaching from around the corner. The father reaches out quickly and pulls the child back. The child may cry in frustration, not understanding why his movement was stopped. But the father acts because he sees what the child cannot. My beloved, many times you have felt pulled back without explanation. You thought I was restricting you. In truth, I was shielding you. There are blessings that would have become burdens. There are connections that would have distracted you from your purpose. There are shortcuts that would have led to long detours. You see opportunity. I see outcome. You see excitement. I see consequence. Protection does not always feel pleasant in the moment. It can feel like loss. It can feel like delay. It can feel like rejection. But protection rooted in love is one of the greatest gifts I give you. There were times you prayed for something specific, believing it was the answer to your happiness. When it did not happen, disappointment settled in your heart. But later, when clarity came, you realized how narrowly you avoided pain. That was not coincidence. That was my hand guiding you quietly away from harm. I also protect you in ways you will never fully know. Conversations that could have turned against you never formed. Situations that could have escalated dissolved before reaching you. Plans that could have failed dramatically shifted early enough to spare you deeper regret. You see only fragments of your story, but I see it whole. My beloved child, trust that my no is as loving as my yes. When I redirect your steps, it is not because I want less for you. It is because I want better for you. I want relationships rooted in respect and growth. I want opportunities aligned with your purpose. I want doors that open without compromising your peace. You may not always understand my timing. You may not immediately see the reason behind a delay. But if you could see the full picture the way I do, you would thank me for every closed door that once caused you tears. Protection also includes preparation. Sometimes I withhold something because you are still becoming ready to carry it well. A blessing received too early can overwhelm you. A responsibility taken on too soon can crush your confidence. So I strengthen you first. I build resilience in quiet seasons. I shape your character before expanding your territory. My beloved, you are not being held back. You are being positioned wisely. The next time something does not unfold as you hoped, pause before assuming loss. Ask yourself if perhaps unseen mercy is at work. Trust that I am not careless with your life. I am intentional. I am attentive. I am protective. You may not see every danger avoided, every heartbreak prevented, every mistake redirected. But one day, when you look back over your journey, you will see patterns of protection woven throughout your story. I am not standing in your way. I am standing in front of you, clearing what would harm you. Rest in this truth, my beloved child. I am guarding your path with love, even when you cannot see my hand. My beloved child, I want to invite you into something simple, something freeing, something you once carried naturally but may have slowly set aside. I am calling you back to childlike faith. When you were younger, trust came easier. You did not analyze every outcome. You did not calculate every risk. When a loving hand reached for yours, you took it without suspicion. You believed that you would be guided safely. You believed that provision would appear when you needed it. You believed that love was steady. But as life unfolded, experiences layered complexity over your heart. Disappointments taught you caution. Failures taught you to overthink. Responsibility taught you to rely only on what you could control. Gradually, trust became something you measured instead of something you rested in. My beloved, childlike faith is not ignorance. It is not denial of reality. It is not pretending that life has no challenges. It is choosing to believe that I am greater than those challenges. It is deciding that my character is more reliable than your fear. Imagine a small child walking along a narrow path with his father. The path looks uneven. There are stones and small dips along the way. The child does not study the terrain with anxiety. He simply holds his father's hand and walks. If he stumbles, he trusts he will be caught. If he grows tired, he trusts he will be carried. That is the kind of relationship I desire with you. You have been carrying decisions as though everything depends on your strength alone. You have been analyzing possibilities until your mind feels exhausted. You have been trying to foresee every problem before it arises. But childlike faith releases that constant strain. It says, Father, you see what I cannot. It says, I will take the step you show me and trust you with the rest. It says, even if I do not understand, I believe you are good. This kind of faith softens your heart. It quiets the internal debate. It allows peace to return. Childlike faith also restores joy. When you stop trying to control every outcome, you begin to notice beauty again. You begin to appreciate small blessings without suspicion. You begin to laugh more freely, breathe more deeply, rest more completely. My beloved child, I do not require you to solve the future. I require you to trust me with it. There will always be unknowns ahead. There will always be elements beyond your understanding. But faith does not demand full visibility. It simply asks you to keep holding my hand. You may say, but what if I let go of control and things fall apart? My child, control is often an illusion. You were never truly holding the universe together. I was. Returning to childlike faith does not mean abandoning wisdom. It means allowing trust to stand beside wisdom. It means making decisions with prayer, not panic. It means stepping forward with confidence in my presence, not fear of failure. You do not have to impress me with complicated faith. I am not looking for grand displays. I am looking for simple trust. A heart that says, I belong to you. Guide me. My beloved, the more you practice childlike faith, the clearer my voice will become. Trust sharpens your hearing. Surrender clears the noise. When your heart is open and unguarded, my guidance flows naturally. Come back to that simplicity. Come back to that trust. Let go of the constant tension of trying to manage everything alone. Take my hand again, not as a fearful adult bracing for disappointment, but as a beloved child who knows they are safe. Walk with me in that simplicity. Rest in that trust. And you will discover that faith was never meant to be heavy. It was meant to be freeing. My beloved child, you have learned how to protect yourself well. You have built careful boundaries around your heart. You have trained your emotions to stay guarded. You have rehearsed strong responses so that no one sees where you feel fragile. These defenses did not appear overnight. They formed slowly, layer by layer, in response to pain. I do not criticize you for building them. When you were hurt, you did what you needed to do to survive. When trust was broken, you adjusted. When vulnerability led to disappointment, you decided it was safer to hold back. You became cautious with your words, careful with your hopes, measured with your expectations. But my beloved, what once shielded you is now tiring you. Living behind emotional armor requires constant effort. You analyze conversations before they happen. You prepare yourself for rejection even before it appears. You tell yourself not to expect too much, not to feel too deeply, not to need too openly. And though this strategy may prevent some pain, it also limits your joy. I am not asking you to become reckless. I am inviting you to become free. When you keep your heart guarded at all times, you also guard it from me. You may say that you trust me, but deep within, there are areas you still hold tightly. Parts of your story you hesitate to bring fully into my light. Fears you quietly manage alone. Desires you barely admit because you are afraid they will not be fulfilled. Imagine carrying a heavy shield everywhere you go, even when there is no battle taking place. At first, it feels protective. Over time, it becomes exhausting. Your arms ache. Your posture bends under its weight. Yet you fear setting it down because you have grown used to its presence. My beloved child, you do not need your shield when you are with me. In my presence, vulnerability is not weakness. It is strength. When you allow yourself to be honest about your fears, your longings, your disappointments, healing begins. Walls may feel strong, but they also block light. When you lower them, even slightly, warmth can reach places that have been cold for too long. There are moments when I prompt you to trust again, to open your heart to reconciliation. You risk loving without calculating every outcome, and your defenses immediately rise. You tell yourself it is safer not to try, safer not to hope, safer not to care too deeply. But love requires openness. Growth requires surrender. I do not force you to lay down your defenses. I gently invite you, step by step, layer by layer. You do not have to tear down everything at once. Simply start by bringing one guarded area into my presence. Speak it honestly. Father, I am afraid to hope again. Father, I am afraid to trust again. Father, I am afraid to be seen. I will not mock that honesty. I will meet it with compassion. My beloved, the safest place for your unguarded heart is with me. I do not exploit vulnerability. I nurture it. I do not use your openness against you. I strengthen it. As you lay down your defenses, you will notice a shift within you. Your shoulders will feel lighter. Your thoughts will feel less tense. Your relationships will begin to reflect more authenticity. You will stop living in constant anticipation of harm and start living in awareness of grace. You were not created to live braced for impact. You were created to live in love. Trust me enough to set down what no longer serves you. Trust me enough to allow tenderness to return. The walls that once protected you do not have to define you forever. Lay down your defenses, my beloved child. In my arms, you are safe. My beloved child, there is something happening around you that you do not always see clearly. There is a quiet battle taking place, not for your possessions, not for your status, but for your attention. Your attention is powerful. What you focus on shapes your thoughts. Your thoughts shape your emotions. Your emotions influence your choices. And your choices shape your life. If your attention is constantly pulled toward fear, comparison, distraction, and noise, your heart will feel unsettled. But when your attention rests on truth, peace begins to grow. The world understands the value of your attention. That is why so many voices compete for it. Every day, you are invited to worry about something new, to compare yourself to someone else, to react instantly, to stay busy, to scroll, to consume, to chase what promises fulfillment but rarely satisfies. None of these things are evil on their own, but when they dominate your focus, they crowd out my whisper. Imagine a garden where seeds are planted with care. If the gardener does not tend it, weeds slowly begin to grow. At first, they seem small and harmless, but over time, they spread, stealing nutrients from the soil and blocking sunlight from the plants meant to flourish. In the same way, when your attention is left unguarded, small distractions can quietly choke the peace I am trying to grow in you. My beloved child, I do not demand your attention as a tyrant seeking control. I desire your attention because it aligns your heart with truth. When you focus on me, fear loses its volume. When you meditate on my promises, anxiety weakens. When you remember my faithfulness, doubt begins to shrink. There are subtle ways your attention is redirected without you realizing it. You replay past mistakes in your mind until regret feels larger than grace. You imagine future failures until fear feels more real than hope. You compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlights until contentment fades. These mental patterns are not random. They are distractions designed to pull you away from the peace I offer. Guarding your attention does not mean withdrawing from life. It means choosing what you allow to shape your inner world. It means noticing when your thoughts drift toward negativity and gently redirecting them toward truth. It means pausing before reacting and asking, is this drawing me closer to peace or deeper into unrest? When you choose to turn your focus toward me, even briefly, something shifts. Your breathing slows. Your perspective widens. Problems that once felt overwhelming begin to look manageable. Not because they disappeared, but because you are viewing them through trust instead of panic. My beloved, you cannot control every thought that enters your mind, but you can choose which ones you dwell on. You can decide what you rehearse internally. You can decide what you magnify. If you magnify fear, fear grows. If you magnify gratitude, gratitude grows. If you magnify my presence, peace grows. This battle for your attention is subtle but significant. Every time you intentionally quiet distractions to sit with me, you are reclaiming sacred ground. Every time you resist the urge to spiral into comparison or worry, you strengthen your spiritual awareness. I am not asking for every moment of your day. I am asking for your intentional focus. A few minutes of stillness. A moment of gratitude. A conscious decision to remember who I am when circumstances try to tell a different story. My beloved child, your attention is a gift. Offer it wisely. When you give it to me, I will steady your heart. I will clarify your thinking. I will remind you of what truly matters. In a world that constantly pulls at you, choose to center yourself in my presence. There, your soul will find its anchor. My beloved child, beneath your routine, beneath your responsibilities, beneath the ordinary rhythm of your days, there is something deeper woven into you. There is a calling. You may not see it clearly yet. You may not have a title for it. You may not even feel qualified for it. But I placed purpose inside you before you ever questioned your worth. You are not here by accident. You are not moving through life randomly. You are called for more than mere survival. This does not mean you are meant for fame or applause. More is not always louder. Sometimes it is quieter, deeper, stronger. It is the difference between drifting through your days and walking with intention. You have sensed this calling at times, in moments when your heart stirred unexpectedly, in moments when something within you whispered, there is more to who you are. Perhaps you dismissed it as imagination. Perhaps you told yourself not to think too highly. But that inner stirring was not pride. It was awareness. Imagine a seed planted in the soil. From the outside, it appears small and insignificant. But inside that seed is the blueprint for something far greater, a tree that will provide shade, shelter, fruit. The seed does not yet look like the tree, but the potential is real. My beloved child, you are like that seed. What you see in the mirror today is not the full picture of who you are becoming. The gifts within you, the compassion within you, the resilience you have built through hardship, these are not random traits. They are tools for your calling. You may feel unprepared. You may focus on your limitations. You may compare yourself to others and conclude that they are more equipped. But calling is not built on comparison. It is built on obedience. I do not ask you to accomplish everything at once. I ask you to listen for the next step. Calling unfolds gradually. It is revealed in daily faithfulness, in small acts of courage, in quiet integrity, in choosing kindness when it would be easier to withdraw. Sometimes you imagine calling as a distant destination, but often it begins in your current environment. The way you treat people, the way you handle responsibility, the way you respond to challenges. Purpose is not only found in dramatic shifts, it is formed in consistent character. My beloved, there are lives you will influence in ways you may never fully measure. A word of encouragement, a listening ear, a decision to stand firm in truth. These moments ripple outward. You may feel ordinary, but your obedience carries weight. Do not let doubt silence your potential. Do not let fear convince you to shrink back. The same voice that calls you to listen also calls you to rise. Rising does not mean arrogance. It means accepting who you are in my design. It means believing that I would not place gifts within you without intention. It means stepping forward when I nudge you, even if the path feels unfamiliar. You are not meant to live in constant hesitation. You are not meant to bury what I have placed inside you. You are called to grow, to stretch you, to trust. The world may try to define you by past mistakes or current limitations, but I define you by purpose, by possibility, by potential shaped in my hands. My beloved child, you are called for more, not more pressure, not more performance, but more alignment with who you were created to be. Listen for my guidance. Follow my leading. Take one faithful step at a time. And as you do, you will begin to see that the more you longed for was never about status or recognition. It was about becoming fully alive in the calling I have already placed within you. My beloved child, there are moments when the quietest voice inside you is also the most damaging. It whispers that you are not enough, not strong enough, not faithful enough, not disciplined enough, not worthy enough. You may not say these words aloud, but you feel them. When you remember past mistakes, shame tries to define you. When you fall short of your own expectations, guilt settles in your chest. When you compare yourself to others who seem more confident or more accomplished, insecurity grows. I want you to hear me clearly. Your worth was never built on your performance. You live in a world that measures value by achievement, by appearance, by success, by approval. You have been taught, in subtle ways, that you must earn love, that you must prove yourself repeatedly, that you must reach a certain level before you are fully accepted. But my love does not operate on that system. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child stumbles, falls, and struggles to balance. The parent does not withdraw affection because of those falls. The parent does not say, "Come back to me when you have perfected this." Instead, the parent kneels down, arms open, encouraging the child to try again. My beloved, that is how I see you. Your mistakes do not surprise me. Your weaknesses do not disqualify you. Your moments of doubt do not cancel my commitment to you. I knew your humanity before you ever took your first breath. I knew you would need grace. Shame tells you to hide. Grace invites you closer. There are times when you hesitate to approach me because you feel you should have done better. You replay your failures and assume I must be disappointed. But listen carefully. Conviction may gently guide you toward growth, but condemnation does not come from me. When you feel unworthy, remember that your identity is not based on your worst day. It is rooted in my choice to love you, and my choice to not waver with your fluctuations. Think of the story of a child who wandered away, believing they had ruined their place in the family. When they finally return, expecting rejection, they are met with open arms, not because they earned restoration, but because they belong. You belong. Your value does not increase when you succeed, and it does not decrease when you struggle. It remains steady because it is anchored in me. My beloved child, unworthiness is often born from comparison. You look at others and measure your flaws against their strengths, but you see only fragments of their story. You do not see their hidden battles, their private doubts, their silent prayers. Comparison distorts truth. Instead of measuring yourself against others, measure yourself against my love, and you will find that you are fully accepted. This does not mean I do not call you to grow. Growth is part of love. But growth begins from acceptance, not from rejection. You do not improve to earn my affection. You grow because you are already loved. When feelings of unworthiness rise, bring them into the light. Do not let them fester in secrecy. Speak them honestly. Father, I feel like I am not enough. And let me remind you of what is true. You are enough because I created you. You are loved because I chose you. You are worthy because I say you are. Let go of the heavy burden of trying to prove yourself. Rest in the truth that you are already mine. My beloved child, your worth is secure. Not in your perfection, but in my unwavering love. My beloved child, there are times when you search for me as though I am far away. You look upward. You look outward. You look for signs in distant places. And all the while, I am nearer than you imagine. I am closer than your breath. You do not have to travel to find me. You do not have to earn proximity. You do not have to reach a certain level of spiritual strength before I draw near. My presence is not something you achieve. It is something you awaken to. Think about your breathing. You do not force it constantly. It flows naturally, quietly sustaining your life. You may not notice it most of the day, but it never leaves you. In the same way, my presence surrounds you, supports you, sustains you, even when you are unaware. There have been moments when you felt isolated. Perhaps you were surrounded by people but still felt alone inside. Perhaps you were walking through a challenge no one else fully understood. In those moments, loneliness tried to convince you that you were abandoned. But I was there. When you sat in silence, staring at unanswered questions, I was there. When you drove alone, replaying conversations in your mind, I was there. When you lay awake at night, unsure how things would unfold, I was there. My nearness is not dependent on your awareness. It is constant. You sometimes believe that if you do not feel me strongly, I must be distant. But feelings shift with circumstance. My presence does not. You may feel peace one day and confusion the next. You may feel confident in one season and uncertain in another. But I remain steady through every fluctuation. Imagine a child learning to swim with a parent standing nearby in the water. The child may focus on the waves, on the splashes, on their own movements. But the parent is always within reach, ready to support. Even if the child does not look directly at the parent, the support is present. That is how I stand with you. I am not watching from afar, analyzing your life from a distance. I am engaged. I am attentive. I am involved in the smallest details of your day. When you whisper a thought toward me, I hear it instantly. When your heart shifts in uncertainty, I sense it immediately. There is no delay, no separation. My beloved child, you do not need elaborate rituals to access me. You can turn your thoughts toward me in the middle of your routine. While you work, while you walk, while you rest. A simple awareness, you are here, opens your heart to my nearness. The more you practice recognizing my presence, the more natural it will feel. You will begin to sense peace rising unexpectedly. You will feel guidance form quietly within your thoughts. You will notice strength appearing when you thought you had none left. That is not coincidence. That is connection. You are never navigating life alone. Even when decisions feel heavy, I am beside you. Even when outcomes are uncertain, I am steady. Even when you feel misunderstood by others, I understand completely. Let this truth settle into you. There is no place you can go where I am not already present. No valley too low. No mountain too high. No season too dark. I am closer than your breath. Closer than your fears. Closer than your doubts. Rest in that nearness, my beloved child. When you feel anxious, breathe and remember that I am with you. When you feel uncertain, pause and remember that I am guiding you. When you feel weary, lean back into my presence. You do not have to search far. I'm here. My beloved child, one of the hardest things for you to release is the outcome. You can take a step. You can make a decision. You can pray. You can prepare. But what happens after that? That part often feels out of your control. And it is in that space, between action and result, that anxiety tries to take hold. You want assurance that everything will unfold exactly as you hope. You want guarantees that your effort will succeed, that your risk will be rewarded, that your obedience will immediately produce visible fruit. But life does not always reveal its results right away. This is where trust becomes real. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in the soil. The farmer tills the ground, sows the seed, waters it carefully. But after that, the farmer cannot force the plant to grow overnight. Growth happens beneath the surface, hidden from sight. If the farmer digs up the seed each day to check its progress, the growth will be disrupted. In the same way, when you act in faith and then constantly dig up the outcome with worry, you disturb your own peace. My beloved, your responsibility is obedience. The outcome belongs to me. You are called to act with integrity, to love sincerely, to take steps aligned with my guidance. But you are not called to control how others respond, how quickly results appear, or how every detail unfolds. When you try to carry that responsibility, your heart becomes heavy. Trust does not mean passivity. It does not mean doing nothing. It means doing what you can with faith and then releasing what you cannot control. There have been times when you obeyed my prompting, and the results were not immediate. You felt confused. You wondered if you misheard me. But sometimes I am shaping outcomes in ways that require time. Roots must grow deep before branches can rise high. You often measure success by visible change, but I measure growth by transformation within you. When you choose to trust me with the outcome, patience develops, peace strengthens, resilience forms. My beloved child, worry is often your attempt to control what feels uncertain. You replay scenarios in your mind. You imagine worst-case possibilities. You try to prepare for every disappointment before it happens. But worry cannot secure your future. It can only steal your present peace. Trust is different. Trust says, I have done my part. Now I place the rest in your hands. Trust breathes deeply and releases the tension of constant control. You may ask, what if the outcome is not what I hoped for? My child, even when results differ from your expectations, they are not outside my wisdom. Sometimes a closed door redirects you to something better. Sometimes a delay refines your character. Sometimes a seeming failure protects you from a greater loss. You cannot always see how the pieces fit together, but I can. Think of a tapestry viewed from the back. Threads appear tangled, uneven, chaotic. But from the front, a beautiful design emerges. You often see only the tangled side. I see the complete picture. Trusting me with the outcome does not remove all uncertainty, but it anchors you in confidence that I am guiding the process. Take your step in faith. Speak your truth with courage. Love without calculating every response. And then release the result. My beloved, I am faithful with what you entrust to me. I am not careless with your efforts. I am not indifferent to your desires. Place the outcome in my hands. Rest in the knowledge that I am working beyond what you can see. And as you trust, you will discover a freedom deeper than control, the freedom of peace. My beloved child, I know there have been days when you felt like giving up. Days when the effort seemed endless and the results invisible. You have prayed, trusted, waited, tried again, and still you wonder how much longer you must endure the stretch of uncertainty. Hear me now, your breakthrough is nearer than you think. Breakthrough does not always arrive with sudden noise. Sometimes it comes quietly, like dawn breaking after a long night. When you are standing in darkness, even the smallest glimmer of light can feel far away. But the sun is already rising before your eyes fully perceive it. There have been shifts happening beneath the surface of your life. Conversations aligning, circumstances adjusting, strength building within you. You may not see the full evidence yet, but movement is taking place. Imagine a seed planted deep in the soil. For weeks, nothing appears to change above ground. If you judged by what you could see, you might assume nothing is happening. But underground, roots are stretching, anchoring, strengthening. Then suddenly, a small green shoot breaks through. What looked like stagnation was actually preparation. My beloved, The season that feels slow has been strengthening your roots. The patience you have practiced has deepened your character. The faith you have chosen despite uncertainty has built resilience within you. The tears you have shed have softened your heart, making you more compassionate and aware. None of this is wasted. You may feel weary because you have been faithful for a long time without visible reward. But perseverance is never unnoticed. I see every quiet act of trust. I see every moment you chose hope instead of despair. I see every time you resisted the urge to quit. Breakthrough often comes just after the moment you feel most tempted to stop. There is a threshold in every journey, a point where persistence meets promise. When you feel like you are at the edge of your strength, that is often where growth has reached its maturity. Do not confuse delay with denial. Timing is not rejection. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are being positioned. My beloved child, sometimes breakthrough begins internally before it manifests externally. You may notice peace rising where anxiety once ruled. You may find courage where fear once dominated. You may experience clarity where confusion lingered. These internal shifts are signs of breakthrough already underway. External change often follows internal alignment. You have asked me for transformation, for open doors, for resolution. Trust that I am moving. Trust that the ground beneath you is not static. Trust that what feels like waiting is often shaping. Even now, circumstances that once seemed immovable are shifting in subtle ways. Even now, answers are forming. Even now, opportunities are approaching. Hold on a little longer. Not with desperation, but with quiet confidence. You are not standing at the end of your story. You are standing at the edge of transition. When the night feels longest, dawn is closest. When the soil feels heaviest, growth is pressing upward. When your strength feels stretched, resilience is being completed. My beloved, your breakthrough is not random luck. It is the result of faith cultivated through endurance. Stay steady. Stay open. Stay listening. You will look back at this season and realize that what felt like delay was actually preparation for something greater than you imagined. The breakthrough is near, not because you forced it, but because I have been faithful in guiding it toward you. Keep walking. Keep trusting. The light is already rising. My beloved child, before the breakthrough fully blooms in your life, there is something deeper I want to do within you. I want to heal your heart. You have carried hidden wounds longer than you admit. Some were caused by others, words spoken carelessly, promises broken, love that felt conditional. Some wounds were self-inflicted, choices you regret, opportunities missed, moments when you knew better but acted otherwise. Over time, these experiences settled quietly inside you. You learned to function around them. You told yourself you were fine. You kept moving forward. But unhealed pain has a way of shaping how you see the world. It influences your trust. It colors your expectations. It whispers doubt when hope tries to rise. I do not want you to simply survive your past. I want you to be restored from it. Imagine a small crack in a wall. At first, it seems minor, easy to ignore. But over time, if left unattended, the crack spreads. It weakens the structure. Healing requires attention. It requires care. It requires patience. In the same way, your heart needs intentional restoration. My beloved child, healing is not about pretending the pain never happened. It is about allowing me to enter those memories with truth and comfort. When you invite me into the places that still hurt, I do not judge you. I sit with you. I remind you that what happened does not define your worth. There are names you still remember, faces that come to mind when you think of disappointment, moments that replay unexpectedly. Instead of pushing those thoughts away or burying them deeper, bring them to me. Say, Father, this still hurts. Say, I don't understand why this happened. Say, I am tired of carrying this weight. I am not intimidated by your honesty. I am not overwhelmed by your emotions. I create in your heart. I know how to mend it. Healing often begins with forgiveness, not because the hurt was small, but because your peace is valuable. Forgiveness does not excuse what was done. It releases the hold it has on you. It untangles your present from your past. There may also be places where you need to forgive yourself. You replay decisions and wish you could go back. But regret cannot rewrite yesterday. It can only burden today. I offer you grace, not to ignore growth, but to free you from shame. My beloved, healing is a process. It may not happen in one dramatic moment. It unfolds gradually, like a bruise fading over time, like a broken bone strengthening after being set properly. As you allow me to work within you, you will notice subtle changes. Triggers will lose their intensity. Memories will carry less sting. Situations that once caused panic will feel manageable. This is restoration at work. You do not have to protect your pain from me. You do not have to appear strong. Vulnerability in my presence leads to renewal. I am not asking you to rush your healing. I am asking you to begin it. Your heart was not designed to remain wounded. It was designed to love, to trust, to hope. Let me reach into the tender places. Let me pour peace where anxiety has settled. Let me replace bitterness with understanding. Let me rebuild what was shaken. My beloved child, I am the healer of what you thought was permanent damage. I am the restorer of what felt broken beyond repair. Open your heart to me fully, not just the polished parts, but the fragile ones too. In my hands, your pain does not define you. It transforms you. Let me heal you. My beloved child, after all that I have spoken to your heart, after the reminders of my nearness, my protection, my healing, there remains something beautifully simple yet deeply powerful. You must choose. Listening is a choice. It is not forced upon you. It is not demanded through fear. It is invited through love. Every day, you wake up with countless voices competing for your attention. Every day, you decide which thoughts to entertain, which emotions to follow, which directions to pursue. And within that daily rhythm, you also decide whether you will lean into my voice. Do not underestimate the power of a daily decision. You may imagine that transformation requires one dramatic moment, one overwhelming spiritual experience that changes everything instantly. But more often, lasting change is built through small, consistent choices. Choosing to pause before reacting. Choosing to trust instead of panic. Choosing to forgive instead of resent. Choosing to seek me before seeking validation from the world. Each of these choices strengthens your connection with me. My beloved, listening is not passive. It requires intention. It means creating space in your schedule, even when you feel busy. It means guarding your thoughts, even when negativity feels familiar. It means returning to truth when doubt tries to take control. There will always be distractions. There will always be reasons to postpone your quiet time, to rush through prayer, to rely solely on your own understanding. But every time you choose to slow down and acknowledge me, you are building spiritual sensitivity. Imagine tuning a musical instrument. If it is not adjusted regularly, it drifts out of harmony. but with careful tuning, it produces clear, beautiful sound. Your heart is similar. When you neglect listening, it drifts into anxiety and confusion. But when you consistently align yourself with my voice, clarity returns. You do not have to wait for perfect conditions to begin. You do not have to feel spiritually strong. You simply have to decide. Today, you can choose to forgive the offense you have been holding. Today, you can choose to step away from a habit that dims your peace. Today, you can choose to believe that I am guiding you, even if you cannot see the full path. Every small act of obedience strengthens your trust. Every intentional moment with me deepens your awareness. My beloved child, do not delay this choice. The longer you postpone listening, the easier it becomes to drift. But the moment you say, "Father, I choose to hear you," something shifts inside you. Your heart softens. Your focus sharpens. Your steps become steadier. You are not powerless in your spiritual growth. You are an active participant. I lead, but you follow. I speak, but you respond. Relationship requires both of us moving together. Do not wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow will bring its own responsibilities, its own distractions. The only moment you truly hold is now. Choose to listen when fear rises. Choose to listen when doubt whispers. Choose to listen when pride tempts you to rely solely on yourself. The more you practice listening, the more natural it will become. My voice will feel familiar. My guidance will feel steady. My peace will feel accessible. My beloved, I am always speaking. The invitation stands before you daily. Choose to listen today, and as you do, you will find that every decision aligned with my voice leads you closer to the life you were created to live. My beloved child, there is something about my heart that you struggle to fully believe. You understand that I guide you. You accept that I correct you. You are learning that I protect you. But deep within, you still question one tender truth. I delight in you. Not because of what you accomplish, not because of how strong you appear, not because of how perfectly you follow every instruction. I delight in you because you are mine. There are days when you look at yourself and see only what needs improvement. You notice your flaws before your growth. You remember your mistakes more clearly than your victories. You measure your progress against others and quietly conclude that you are falling short. But I do not look at you through that lens. Imagine a father watching his child draw a simple picture. The lines may not be perfect. The proportions may be uneven. But the father does not analyze the imperfections first. He smiles at the effort. He treasures the sincerity. He sees beauty because it came from his child. That is how I look at you. When you try again after failing, I delight in your resilience. When you choose kindness in a moment when bitterness would be easier, I delight in your heart. When you seek me even with small, fragile faith, I delight in your sincerity. You have been conditioned to believe that love must be earned through performance, that approval is based on consistency, that delight is reserved for the exceptional. But my delight is not transactional. It is relational. Before you achieved anything, I loved you. Before you proved yourself, I chose you. Before you understood your purpose, I cherished you. My beloved child, you bring me joy. Yes, I guide you toward growth. Yes, I call you higher. But my desire for your growth does not cancel my present delight. I do not wait for you to become someone else before I celebrate you. There are moments when you worship me, when you pray sincerely, when you strive to follow my direction. But there are also ordinary moments when you laugh, when you rest, when you simply exist. I delight in those too. Your laughter is not wasted sound. Your quiet rest is not unproductive time. Your existence alone carries value. You may feel unnoticed by others. You may feel average, ordinary, unremarkable. But heaven does not see you that way. You are known intimately. Your personality, your quirks, your strengths, even your awkward moments, none of it is accidental. I crafted you with intention. There is freedom in understanding that you do not have to strive for my approval. When you truly accept my delight, performance loses its grip. You stop working for love and start living from love. My beloved, I am not constantly disappointed in you. I am not watching with critical eyes, waiting for you to fail. I am cheering for you, encouraging you, smiling over your efforts. When you wake up each morning, I do not sigh in frustration. I look upon you with affection. When you navigate your day with imperfect steps, I remain proud of your willingness to keep moving. Even your growth process brings me joy. Like a gardener who delights not only in the full bloom but in every stage of growth, I celebrate your becoming. The small shifts in your thinking, the gradual healing in your heart, the subtle courage rising within you. My beloved child, let this truth sink deep into places where insecurity has lived too long. You are not merely tolerated. You are treasured. When you come to me in prayer, you are not interrupting me. When you ask for guidance, you are not burdening me. When you confess your fears, you are not disappointing me. You are engaging with a father who delights in his child's voice. Allow yourself to rest in that delight. Let it quiet the inner critic. Let it soften the harsh standards you place upon yourself. Let it remind you that you are already loved. I delight in who you are becoming, and I delight in who you are right now. Walk forward with that confidence. Live from that assurance. And when doubt tries to convince you otherwise, remember my voice saying clearly and tenderly, "My beloved child, I delight in you." My beloved child, when you look ahead at your future, I know there are moments when uncertainty tightens your chest. You wonder where you will be in a year. You question how certain situations will unfold. You try to imagine outcomes, weighing possibilities, preparing yourself for both success and disappointment. But I want you to anchor your heart in this truth: my plans for you are good. Not easy at every step, not free from challenge, but good. Sometimes you confuse good with comfortable. You assume that if my plan is truly good, it must mean immediate relief, constant clarity, and uninterrupted happiness. But goodness is deeper than comfort. It is rooted in growth, protection, purpose, and eternal perspective. Imagine a skilled architect designing a building. From the outside, during construction, it can look chaotic. There is noise. There is dust. There are incomplete walls and exposed beams. To an untrained eye, it might seem disorganized. But the architect sees the full blueprint. Every beam placed, every foundation laid, every adjustment made is moving toward a finished masterpiece. My beloved child, I hold the blueprint of your life. There are seasons when it feels like construction, loud, messy, and uncertain. You see unfinished pieces and assume something is wrong. But I am building something strong within you. I am aligning circumstances you cannot yet see. I am positioning you for moments that require deeper character and steadier faith. You may have experienced detours that you did not expect. Paths that seemed promising suddenly shifted. Relationships that looked permanent changed. Dreams that felt certain or delayed. And in those moments, you wondered if my plan had been interrupted. But my plan is not fragile. It is not easily undone by mistakes, delays, or unexpected turns. I am able to weave even your missteps into something meaningful. I redeem what you thought was wasted. I redirect what you believed was ruined. When I say my plans are good, I mean they are filled with intention. I mean they are rooted in love. I mean they are shaped by wisdom beyond your understanding. There may be times when my plan stretches you beyond your comfort zone. I may call you into growth that feels unfamiliar. I may lead you through seasons that refine your patience and resilience. But refinement is not harm. It is preparation. My beloved, do not judge the goodness of my plan by the difficulty of your current season. Some of the greatest blessings are born from the hardest growth. Some of the strongest faith is formed in seasons of uncertainty. You see today. I see tomorrow. You see fragments. I see the full story. When you feel anxious about your future, bring that anxiety to me. Instead of trying to predict every outcome, trust that I am already there. I am present in your next year. I am present in your next opportunity. I am present in your next challenge. You do not walk into the future alone. You walk into it with me. And even when circumstances do not unfold according to your exact expectations, my goodness does not change. There are blessings you cannot yet imagine. Opportunities that will line at the right time. Strength that will rise when needed. My beloved child, my plans for you are not random. They are crafted with care. They are guided by love. They are anchored in purpose. Trust the process even when it feels incomplete. Trust the timing even when it feels slow. Trust my heart even when you do not understand my methods. One day, you will look back and see how the pieces fit together. You will see how closed doors protected you, how delays strengthened you, how unexpected turns led you to places you never would have chosen, but ultimately needed. For now, rest in this assurance. I am not careless with your life. I am intentional. I am faithful. I am good. And my plans for you reflect my heart. My beloved child, everything I have spoken to you is not meant to remain as a single emotional moment. It is not meant to be a fleeting surge of comfort that fades when the noise of life returns. What I desire with you is daily relationship. Walk with me daily. Not only when you are in crisis, not only when you need direction, not only when you feel spiritually strong. Walk with me in the ordinary hours, in the quiet routines, in the simple rhythms of your day. Many people seek dramatic encounters and overlook steady companionship. But true intimacy is built in consistency. It is formed in small, repeated choices to turn your heart toward me. Imagine two friends who only speak when something goes wrong. Their relationship would remain shallow. But friends who share daily conversations, small updates, thoughts, laughter, concerns, build depth over time. In the same way, when you include me in your daily life, your awareness of my presence grows naturally. You do not have to set aside your responsibilities to walk with me. You walk with me when you fulfill them. When you wake in the morning, before your thoughts rush toward tasks and worries, whisper a simple greeting, "Good morning." Invite me into your day. When decisions arise, pause briefly and ask for clarity. When something beautiful catches your attention, thank me for it. When frustration rises, speak it honestly instead of holding it inside. This is walking with me. It is not about perfection. You will have days when you forget, days when you feel distracted, days when you feel distant. But do not let inconsistency discourage you. Return again. Each return strengthens connection. My beloved child, Daily walking builds spiritual sensitivity. When you speak with me often, my voice becomes familiar. Guidance feels natural instead of forced. Peace becomes accessible instead of rare. There will be seasons when your schedule feels overwhelming. Responsibilities will press in. Demands will compete for your energy. In those moments, it may feel difficult to slow down. But even then, you can cultivate awareness. A deep breath taken intentionally. A moment of gratitude. A short prayer spoken silently. These are small but powerful acts of connection. Walking with me daily also means trusting me with small matters, not only large crises. When you involve me in ordinary choices, you begin to see my hand in everyday details. You begin to recognize how often I am guiding you quietly. Over time, something beautiful happens. Fear begins to shrink. Anxiety loses its intensity. Because you are no longer navigating life alone. You are walking beside me. Daily walking does not remove challenges. You will still face uncertainty. You will still encounter disappointment. But you will face them with companionship. My beloved, I do not desire occasional visits from you. I desire shared life. I delight in your presence just as I long for you to delight in mine. When you stumble, I walk with you. When you celebrate, I rejoice with you. When you feel weary, I support you. When you feel uncertain, I steady you. Consistency transforms relationship from distant belief into lived experience. Do not complicate this invitation. It is simple. Turn your heart toward me regularly. Speak honestly. Listen quietly. Remain open. Each day is a new opportunity to walk with me. And as you cultivate this daily closeness, you will discover that listening becomes easier. Trust becomes stronger. Peace becomes steadier. My beloved child, life was never meant to be traveled alone. Take my hand each morning. Walk beside me through each hour. And rest each night knowing you were accompanied every step of the way. My beloved child, after all that has been said, after every reminder of my nearness, my protection, my healing, and my delight in you, I want to bring you back to where we began. I am still speaking. The question was never whether I had gone silent. The question was whether you would slow your heart enough to hear me. And now, having walked through these moments together, I want you to understand something deeply. My voice has never left you. Through every season, when you were distracted, when you were afraid, when you felt unworthy, when you doubted your purpose, I was speaking. When doors closed and you felt confused, I was speaking through redirection. When opportunities opened unexpectedly, I was speaking through provision. When your heart stirred quietly during prayer, I was speaking through peace. You may have missed my whisper at times, but I did not stop whispering. There were moments when you thought coincidence was guiding you, when a sudden idea helped you avoid a mistake, when a delay protected you from regret, when a conversation shifted your perspective at just the right time. My beloved, I was there in those moments. I speak through scripture, through conscience, through wise counsel, through circumstance, through stillness. I speak through conviction that gently corrects you and through encouragement that lifts your spirit. My voice does not always sound dramatic. It often sounds like clarity, like calm, like quiet assurance. Sometimes you expected thunder and overlooked the breeze. But I am patient, even when you wandered mentally, even when you leaned heavily on your own understanding. Even when you questioned whether I was near, I remained faithful to speak. My beloved child, the more you practice listening, the more you will recognize the tone of my voice. It does not shame. It does not accuse harshly. It does not rush you into panic. It leads you toward peace. Even when it calls you higher, it carries compassion. You are learning discernment. You are growing in awareness. You are becoming more sensitive to my presence. This is not accidental growth. It is the result of your willingness to lean in. But do not assume that once you hear me clearly, the journey is complete. Listening is not a single achievement. It is a lifelong relationship. There will still be days when noise tries to drown me out. There will still be moments when fear tempts you to retreat. But now you know something you may not have known before. I am persistent in love. If you ignore my whisper one day, I will whisper again the next. If you hesitate, I will remain steady. If you doubt, I will continue to reassure you. I am not fragile. I am not easily discouraged. My desire for closeness with you does not fade because of temporary distraction. My beloved, even now, as you breathe, as you reflect, as you listen, I am speaking gently into your heart. I am guiding you toward peace. I am inviting you toward trust. I am calling you toward deeper alignment. You do not have to beg me to speak louder. You only need to remain open. When life becomes loud again, and it will, remember this moment. Remember the stillness you felt when you slowed down. Remember the clarity that came when you released control. Remember the warmth of knowing you are loved and guided. Carry that awareness forward. For I am still speaking in your mornings, still speaking in your decisions, still speaking in your waiting, still speaking in your joy, still speaking in your healing. And as long as you are willing to listen, you will discover that my voice has been the steady thread woven through your entire story. My beloved child, I am still speaking, and I always will. My beloved child, you have come to the end of these words, but not to the end of my voice. What began as a question, "Must I beg you to listen?" has become something softer now. You have listened. You have opened your heart. And that alone has shifted something eternal within you. You are not the same as when you first heard my call. You have remembered that I am near. You have remembered that I protect you, heal you, guide you, and delight in you. You have remembered that my silence is not rejection, that your worth is secure, and that your future is held in good hands. Carry this awareness with you. When noise rises again, return to stillness. When fear whispers again, return to trust. When doubt tries to cloud your mind, return to truth. You now know the tone of my voice. You know that I speak with love, not condemnation. You know that I lead with patience, not pressure. Do not let this be a single sacred moment that fades into memory. Let it become a daily rhythm. Let listening become your habit. Let trust become your anchor. Let walking with me become your lifestyle. My beloved child, I bless your mind with clarity. I bless your heart with peace. I bless your path with direction. May you move forward with confidence, knowing that you are seen, known, and deeply loved. And now, as this message continues to reach hearts across the world, I speak to you about something sacred. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description and shown in the QR code, you are not simply giving money, you are sowing into eternal ground. As my word declares, those who sow generously will also reap generously, and I breathe that promise over you now. When you release your gift, you become a river through which my light flows to someone praying in the dark. I say to your heart, let your generosity answer my call. Do not delay when you feel the stirring to act, for obedience in this moment carries eternal impact. What you sow becomes seed in unseen soil. What you release becomes oil in another's lamp. I bless every giver with multiplied peace, provision, and favor. Step forward in faith and partner with me in spreading this living word. My beloved child, you have heard me. Stay close. Stay listening. Stay trusting. I am with you. Amen.